Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 2 of Anthropology 330, Evolution of People, Technology, and Society for winter 2020. I hope everyone got through week 1 okay. The discussion board looks really great so far. Looks like everybody's doing a really good job of reading the instructions and following them, which is the main thing to do on the on the discussion board. I'll be getting grades to you very quickly. You might already have your grade by the time you see this video. I try to get those graded on Sunday evenings and get all the grades out to you before the beginning of the week on Mondays. Like all good intentions, I often fail to meet them. But I will try to get your grades up as soon as possible and do that throughout the term. Um, just some real quick housekeeping. If you don't have a textbook yet, please let me know. I'll be able to get you a PDF of the next chapter. Uh, After this week, you're gonna start really getting into trouble if you don't have the textbook. You're gonna A lot of this stuff that we're covering is very textbook intensive over the next couple of weeks, and it's kind of the foundation of what we'll do in the rest of the term. So if you don't have a textbook yet, please let me know, and I will send you the PDF, and we'll get you set up with the textbook as soon as possible. Okay, so moving on to week 2. This week we are finishing up the library how-to module. These modules are brand new. This is the first term that they're around. The new Ecampus librarian put them together over winter break. So if you have any feedback about it, if you find that it's very, very helpful or not or whatever, if you feel like giving some feedback, I would appreciate that, and I can pass that back on to the librarian. Hopefully you found these very helpful, and hopefully these will help you with the research that we have to do for the rest of the term. So this week's module is about finding books and then about finding articles. I posted a video on the discussion board last week about how to make sure that an article is peer reviewed using the OSU OneSearch page. This contains a little more information about that and how to use different databases and what's the difference between scholarly articles and popular articles, and things like interlibrary loan and Google Scholar and Summit, which is a wonderful program where you can borrow books that other libraries have. How to use some of this stuff is only relevant if you're on campus. How to find a book on the shelf. If you live 500 miles away, that's not going to help you very much. But many books are available in electronic form, and yeah, so if you go through that, that'll give you a lot of background information. And if you are confused at all about any of the research methods and steps that you have to take while writing your research paper, please reach out to me. I have taught this class a bunch. I've done a lot of research myself. I am a researcher, so I have a lot of experience with research and can often clear up some of the things that are unclear to many students. Okay, so into the evolution. This week we're talking about the theory of evolution. And of course, remember in science, a theory doesn't just mean a conjecture. A theory is a body of data and evidence and everything that helps explain something that we see in the natural world. So we start out with the overview. Here's the learning outcomes for this week. So we're talking about the history of how scientists have classified living things. Starting with Linnaeus, the famous classifier. We'll talk about his system and some other systems. We'll talk about how taxonomy is using comparisons between different organisms to put them into classifications. And then we'll start talking about the history behind Darwin's theory itself. So what happened in Europe, what was going on, what's the intellectual background, what are some of the factors in Darwin's life that contributed to it. And then we'll talk about the fundamental unit of heredity, which is, spoiler alert, it's called the gene. And then we'll do a discussion board. So for readings this week, one chapter of Larson and several chapters of Wilson here, and then these two websites. One's just a timeline, one's like more like a magazine article. And then the lecture, there's one PowerPoint lecture, and then these 3 video links. One of them is, this first one is 8 minutes long, this one's less than a minute, and this one I think is 5 minutes. So please watch all of those. And if you're doing the inquisitive activities, that's here. And then the discussion. So this discussion board is not going to be open until Sunday night. If you're watching this after that, then it's already open. So we're talking about adaptive and maladaptive traits. So you will have one post due on Wednesday again and two posts due on Saturday. So for the post on Wednesday, I want you to just think of a trait in a species. It can be either Homo sapiens or another species. So for the post, it does not have to be long, just a couple of sentences. Tell us what the trait is. Is the trait adaptive, which means it provides, I'm sorry, we're talking about maladaptive and non-adaptive traits here. So if it's non-adaptive, that means it provides no advantages. If it is maladaptive, that means it actually provides a disadvantage. And then I want you to just very briefly describe the environment that you believe the trait evolved in. So, for instance, if your trait is long-necked in drafts, then the environment it evolved in might be a savanna with tall trees and grass. Um, so something like that. And that is it for this week. Next week, we're going to have our first term paper assignment due. It's a short topic proposal. So looking forward to that. But this week, the main thing is to get a solid grounding in the research that we're going to be doing and the methods for doing the research, and start reading about the history of evolution. All right. I hope you all have a great week. Reach out if you have any problems or questions.